Hi friends, it's Sarah, the owner and maker behind Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, big welcome back. I'm glad you guys are here for another episode. It's been, it's been a week or two because normally I do weekly posts, but I had every intention of doing a scheduled one and that did not happen because I ran out of time. So anyway, I hope you are well in this interim that we haven't seen each other, and we'll get right into it. So at the end, I'll talk about the life update, which will be a little bit about where I was last week. We did go on a trip, so I'll go into that information here shortly. But as far as shop update goes, I'm still working on Advents. Very exciting. So definitely make sure you follow me on Instagram, YouTube. Newsletter subscribing is the best. And I'm really hopeful that MailChimp is behaving itself because I just had a bit of an issue with it last time I sent out an email. It just did not go. So hopefully this time all will be well. Hopefully I don't make a bunch of noise here. I am wearing my Stephen West mystery knit along shawl from I think 3 years ago. Actually, it's probably 4 years because I made this at our old house. So it's probably been about 4 years since I made this. I did really enjoy making it. It's really pretty. And it's using a lot of my fall colors. So these came out in a fall collection, like I said, a couple years ago. We have squash. This is a mystery color, or like one-of-a-kind color, this here. It's similar to Teddy, though, the base of Teddy. I have mossy and spiced hot cocoa. And then this is not my colorway. That's a different base. But it's really fun how they interact. I'm trying to remember the name of the mystery knit along so that if you wanted to knit this one, you could buy it. I can't remember if it's the Shawlography. Honestly, if you go on Stephen West patterns, you can see them on there and it will show you them because they're past mystery knit alongs. So it is, I don't want to take it off because I've got my microphone on here. But I loved the fall colors. I'm feeling very in the fall spirit, even though it's 84 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now. But there's just so many fun details. This looks a lot like cobwebs to me. And it's just really fun. And it's fun to see how the colors mingle and play off each other. Definitely recommend it. If you do like these colorways, I do have, I think, a couple of them in the shop behind me here. I have a couple of them in the shop currently. As I mentioned in my last video, just with the state of things when it comes to tariffs and everything, I know trying to get yarn bases is something that is going to be an interesting situation based on cost and everything, and trying to have things affordable for you guys. I don't want the pricing to be through the roof because the cost of the base product is a lot higher. So I'm still kind of working that part out. So I have been kind of leaning a lot more towards hand spinning at the moment. And all that's to say, maybe, I say maybe because I haven't done this yet, but maybe, depending on how good at spinning I get and how quick I get, I do have a spinning wheel and I can always, again, maybe start hand spinning yarn and then possibly dyeing it. But that would be a way that if someone's a knitter and not a spinner and they want finished yarn that they can work with, I might be able to have some hand spun as well as an option. But we're not there yet. It's just something that's in the back burner, kind of showing you the behind the scenes a little there. But definitely always follow me as like I said, on Instagram. I'm pretty active on there. Facebook, kind of. It's more on Instagram. But I do post on Facebook and Instagram at the same time because they have a program for sellers. It's like Meta. And then YouTube as well, of course. I love to share with you guys what's going on in the latest and greatest. But if the newsletter is the best way. Plus, if I have any discounts for sales or anything, I will share it there first. Well, the discount codes only are shared there. Any sales it will be talked about on there first. Try to stay hydrated. Like I said, it was pretty darn warm outside. So silly for me to be wearing this right now, but I just thought, let's get into the fall spirit, shall we? I know it's the end of summer. Many already feel like it's fall. I do want to start decorating for fall. Fall always goes by really quickly. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but for me in Michigan, it feels like it lasts about a week and then it's over with. And that's the holidays. So I really would like to decorate and actually get some of the fall. I'm definitely a fall decorator, not as much a Halloween decorator. I'm more into the season end of things when it comes to that. Okay, wow, that was a big ramble. I did not bring my camera or my phone in here to do my timer, which is probably a fail. So we're going to go through it. We're going to talk. Hopefully I won't talk too long because hopefully my camera won't overheat and turn off on me because that would be a disaster. I don't edit my videos, if you can't tell. And so it's you get what you get. Sometimes there's things where I run out of the room and I have to come back, but that's the way it goes. It's fun. I hope you're here for it. And yeah, I have fun and talk about yarn and wooliness. And I started the channel primarily to show my hand-dyed yarn. And that's really a lot of it. Showing things, I feel like the color's better when I show it in the video versus always trying to capture it with camera. It can be very hard to do that. So I just find like it's a little bit better, and then you can see it in action, which I think helps too. Okay, so I worked on 2 projects, and while we were traveling, and the first one is my Stria cardigan by Andrea Mowry of Dre Renee Knits. I have made some serious progress. So since you guys have seen me last, I bound off the bottom. So we have a bottom. It is finished. Not finished, but the bottom is. We have bound off the bottom, and we are now going down the one sleeve, and then there'll be another sleeve. But you see what I mean here? You see how there's this like differentiation between. I think it's kind of crazy. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a gauge difference between these. Full disclosure, I went up like a quarter of a needle size because I want the sleeves to be a little looser. Her sleeves tend to be kind of tighter on me, so in a way to avoid that, I went up a little bit. So that might affect the way it looks anyway, but I'm just hoping that it can kind of balance itself out once it's blocked. Because as I mentioned before, you can see how the back here, where there were all the increases and everything, it just kind of looks different. It just has some differentiation between that and the body. This is a cropped sweater. It's a cardigan, super cute. I intend to wear this over a lot of dresses. I really wanted to make it as something I could wear at work. So I just hope that in the blocking, it'll help kind of balance out the area that kind of, I don't know, it just stands out to me right now. So I really hope that that will balance. I know blocking does a world of difference for knits, that's for sure. So we'll see. But I'm very much enjoying it. I have my little 9-inch circulars that I'm working with now while I'm doing the decreases. And I'm just using my little light bulb markers, stitch markers, to track my decreases. It makes it so easy, and yes, love it. So enjoying that so much. And again, that's the Stria cardigan by Andrea Mowry. And I'm using my wonderful, unfortunately she doesn't make her bags anymore, but Stitching the High Notes, her last set of bags. It's so cute. Again, fall oriented with the pumpkins. Love it. Okay, so that is her large bag that I was using. All right. Next is one that I've been working on this week primarily, and then a little on the weekend. And that is the Stoker shawl by Kirsten. It's Kristen. People don't call her Kirsten. It's Kristen. Kristen Lehrer of Vine Yarns. And I am using my Nightshade colorway. And I'm mid-row, naturally. I still am hoping I can finish this so I can wear it to a wedding that's coming up here, but I have about a week to do this, so we'll see if that'll work. I'm going to go at an angle because it's a nice dark color and you can't see the details otherwise. So there's that little, the buttons that are basically bubble stitch, and that goes down the entire center back. There we go. If I get at an angle, you can see it. And then now I'm getting into the section areas of like a rib situation. It's not ribbing, but it's a rib design. And then I am quickly approaching, because I think I only have like 2 more of the repeats of that design. I will be doing the beautiful lace work, which is really cool. I'm using a Seams by Sarah bag. She's one of my favorite clothing designers, and she made some bags for a bit. Linen bag. But here is the Stoker. You will not be able to see this very well. I highly recommend going on the website to look at it. Ravelry or her website, Vine. Yeah, you really can't see it. It's too dark. But there is lacework on the bottom, and it's really pretty. So we'll see if I can finish this. It would be quite the undertaking. If I could really get it hunkered down this weekend, but I don't think that's going to happen because we have a lot of things to do. Again, I'll talk about that in the life update end of things. So, anyway, really enjoying this. It's been a lot of fun to work on. It's a really relaxing pattern. It's a lot of stockinette. It's some purling because you're doing back and forth, or like knitting and purling, and just knit flat, not in the round. And it's just really fun. Plus, I love this colorway. As I mentioned, again, a fall color. This is one of my fall colors of last year, and I love it so much. Again, this is Nightshade. I do have a little of it left in the shop at the moment, but yeah, I really love it. We'll see if I can do an update, a more hand-dyed, but at the moment I don't foresee that happening just in the very near future because I am hunkering down on advents, and that takes quite a bit of time. All right, so that's my works in progress, and I also talk about life update end of things. So last weekend, week into the weekend, which is why I didn't record, we spent last Thursday through Sunday in Hocking Hills, Ohio. If you guys are hikers and you live in the US, if you don't live in the US and you're a hiker, you should definitely do this trip. But if you do live in the US, you also really should take this trip. Highly recommend it. Very, very worth it to go. It took us about 7-hour drive to get there. And here's a photo. It's their guidebook that you can get for free from their welcome center. It is beautiful. There's waterfalls. Unfortunately, the waterfalls were not very visible at the moment. Here's a winter shot. Unfortunately, they're not very visible at the moment because we have such a drought going on here in the US in many areas. There's just not a lot of rain. We just have not been getting a lot of rain, and it's been really hot. So that combination, of course, leads to a lot of evaporation, and yeah, the water's just not there at the moment. So the trails were still absolutely stunning. We're talking caverns, really cool steps carved out of stone, steps like boulders turned into steps. It was really, really neat. Some of the hiking terrain was definitely not for a beginner, I would say. But I mean, a very committed person can do it. If you have any walking issues, I would not recommend some of these trails, that's for sure. But one of the trails that I would say personally, and I'm pretty sure my husband would as well, is not to be missed is the Old Man Cave. And then taking that trail to, there's a falls that's attached to that trail. And then continuing down the Buckeye Trail, which takes you back to the Old Man Cave, and then doing that loop. That was a 10-mile loop. So full disclosure, it's about 10 miles. It's a lot of walking, and this is not flat walking. This is very like going up and down stairs, climbing boulders, and root systems that you're like scaling to get up. We had our dogs with us, which is super fun. We had to help them in areas. There were areas where we had to like lift them up to get them up because they couldn't jump. So it just was too high. So it's one of those things that, user beware. That's what I'll say. And the trails are heavily traveled, which is excellent. Very well maintained. Out of all the trails, like we've done a lot of hiking trails. Out of all the hiking trails we've ever done, I would say this is the most maintained trail system. They really keep the trails clear. The trails are wide. They are directional. Many of the trails are directional, so that way it's a lot easier because there's so many people that come to them. And to be fair, though, sections of the trail system are heavily inundated with people, but never to the point where we felt like we weren't enjoying ourselves or we couldn't even walk it. That was never the case. It's just, you have to slow down a little bit, that kind of thing, which is not a big deal because it's exhausting. There are areas where you walk across stanchion bridges. Just so you know, if you have a fear of heights, I was okay. It was because it was like high in one area, but then it was lower in the other. So like the bridge is over the top of a waterfall, basically, if you want to like look at it that way. So it wasn't overwhelming in that sense. If you have if you are afraid of climbing trees because of heights, then maybe that's not a good one for you. But if you're afraid of like Ferris wheel height, you should be okay. But it's really cool. But there are some trails that it will talk about how it's more advanced. And I will say the Buckeye Trail though is I'd say it's not moderate. They said moderate. I would put it more towards advanced moderate because yeah, there were some areas where I'm like, all right, we're literally walking across the edge of a cliff here. We'll see what happens. It was interesting how certain trails did not have that much like protection, so you didn't fall off a cliff. That was very interesting to me. But I will say those would be the one not to be missed. The Old Man Cave, and I think it's Cantwell Falls. It's connected to that one, and then the Buckeye Trail on the way back to Old Man Cave. That I highly, highly recommend. If you can only do one hike day, like one day of hiking, oh gosh, do that one. We did that our first day, and the second day we did what's the name of it? Rock House. That was really cool. That's a short trail, so you can cram that in after the other one if you're like really ambitious. And then what was the other one we did? There was the Cantwell Cliffs. So there's something cliffs. And again, dogs were allowed at all of these trails that we went to. That one was really cool too. There's but that one's treacherous. So if you have very little ones with you, again, enter at your own risk because at the top, there's many areas where you are literally like at the edge of a cliff and there's no barricade. There's like nothing to prevent you from doing something stupid. So just be aware of that. But yeah, highly recommend it. That's a cool trail too. And another short trail. So manageable to do if you don't have a lot of time. So yeah, Hocking Hills, Ohio, beautiful. We went to an antique mall as well because it was raining in the morning on Saturday. It was Saturday. Saturday morning it rained, but it was beautiful because we went to this really cool market. It's an Amish market, and they had antique market. There's tons of things there, like tons of shops. It's in this book. Yes, the Hocking Hills Market, premier shopping destination. So it's kind of like a big deal. It's in this book, and it takes up 2 pages. And that was really fun. So if you need to not be hiking and you want to have some fun just shopping for souvenirs and such, it's a really cool way to find a unique souvenir. I found a really beautiful bowl for bread baking, and then I found a linen kitchen towel that, like a tea towel, and I love my linen tea towels, especially vintage ones. They're made so well and they're highly absorbent, and they work great when you're making bread or baked goods because they just don't stick to it. It's really nice. So yeah, definitely recommend that as well. And again, that's in Ohio, and it's close to West Virginia, so it's really beautiful. All right, so that's what we did. And so while we were there, I got some knitting done. Not a lot of knitting. Primarily when we were driving is when I got the knitting in. Because while we were there, we were hiking, and we were only home in the evening for a little bit. And home was a little Airbnb, which was super cute. My husband planned this whole thing, and I'm really, really impressed. And I told him I was so, so grateful because I really needed a good vacation. Unfortunately, the trip we had in the winter months, so in February, we went to oh, the Dominican Republic, and I got so sick. I had the flu. It was a disaster. I did not feel well at all. And as you can imagine, being in an area away from home and you have to travel on the plane and you don't feel well, it's just not a pleasant experience at all. So I really wanted to go relax somewhere and actually relax. And this was perfect. We relaxed. We got great exercise. Oh my goodness. My legs were hurting. They're now starting to feel okay. But we stopped hiking Saturday. And by the time we got home, Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, definitely Tuesday. And I'd say a little bit yesterday, Wednesday, my like calves were screaming at me. They were not happy. We worked on something fierce. I haven't sweat so much since I was like playing soccer in high school in the summer camp. So it was really good exercise. And it was cool because when you're down in those like caverns and in the ravine area, the terrain that's lower, when you get back up to the parking lot area and everything at these trails, it's a good 10 degrees warmer. So that was pretty cool. That was interesting. It's like another world in these trails. It's quite beautiful. So highly, highly recommend you guys if you want to go somewhere truly unique. Yeah, really cool. All right, life update and of things when it comes to busy. As I was saying, this weekend, whew, I don't know why these months just are like August and September are turning out to be months that are just packed. Every weekend, packed. And on top of that, there are things that, there's business, and then there's like personal life things that are busy. So, as I mentioned, next weekend we have a wedding we're going to. Luckily, that's local. But we're also going to be, we were traveling last weekend, so I didn't get a lot of like Advent prep done last weekend. But this weekend I plan on doing that. I also need to keep washing fleeces because I have 7 more fleeces that need to be washed. So before winter, I do not like, and I guess you can, but I do not like storing raw wool that has not been washed over winter. I don't want to store it. I want it to be clean because I don't want to leave it out in the garage. I want it to be in my wool area, and my wool room is all clean wool. I do not and clean as in it's been washed. It hasn't been picked, but it's been washed, and it's been skirted and everything. So skirted, then washed, dried, and then I store it in the wool barn. So my little wool barn, my wool shed, it's a shed. So my wool shed, yeah, it needs we need to get that wool washed so that I can put it in there. So I've been working on that. I'm so incredibly grateful that the weather is warm and hot. So today, after I finish this, I'm going to wash another fleece that's been soaking in the suet bath because I like to do suet baths for my cleaning, and that needs the hotter temperatures to do that. So I'm going to do that. Let's see. Do the suet bath, wash today, and then tomorrow, hopefully, I'll do another one. I also need to shear the sheep. So we discovered you do not have to do this, but some sheep need to be shorn twice a year, or should be shorn twice a year. Our beautiful Shetlands have some decent wool. Last year we did not shear them because they were lamb, so we did not shear them for their first shearing until spring. And it was okay. Their wool is still usable. However, there was some felting or like starting to felt, and the staple length is like a good 7 inches or so. I mean, it's long, very, very long. I'd say 8 inches for the most part. So this year, we're going to do 2 shearings. So we're going to shear them here in the early fall, which that's this weekend, I hope. That's my goal. This weekend to shear them. We have 5 sheep we have to shear. We hand shear them with blades. We blade shear them. And so the goal would be to get that done this weekend so that they're good to go. And then we would shear them in the spring after the winter time. And so that way, hopefully, their fleece will be in better condition. Not only this one that we currently would be shearing off of them, but especially the one in the spring. Because if you let it go that long without shearing it, you get it's a lot of weight on the sheep. Like that's the thing I noticed, I think the most when we shear them this in the spring. That fleece was very heavy. Like it's a Shetland fleece, and they're not huge. They're not huge sheep, and most Shetland fleeces kind of vary in weight, but they were primarily around like 4, I think 5-6 pounds. Like that's a pretty heavy fleece for a sheep that size. So I feel like if we do this double, we're gonna try it this year. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll switch back to once a year, but at this point, it's more for their well-being. If anything, obviously I want the quality of the wool, but I also want it for their well-being. And when you let the fleece get that long, it's very, very heavy on them. So it weighs them down, and I can tell, like I can see how they maneuver and move when it's that long and like when it's not as long. So I'd say right now they currently have a good 4 to 5 inches on them. That's a decent fleece. So again, when you blade shear, you usually leave about, I'd say, about half an inch. I'm not an expert shearer, so we leave almost an inch, I'd say, of fleece on them. So they should be more than good for the fall into the winter. They'll grow some more, and they'll be good. They're hardy little stinkers, that's for sure. All right, so that's what I'm talking about when I said I'm just going to be busy going. Anyway, really excited. All I can think about is spinning and all these things I want to do, but then I also have all of these responsibilities I need to get done. So I'm trying to balance the fun and creativity and the things that need to get done as well. You gotta have balance. All right, guys, I think that's it. I hope this didn't go too long. I hope it doesn't shut off on me. It does look like it's still recording. Thank goodness. All right, I think that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Take care. Bye.